Hi, Angelo here. Today is day 5 of the 30 Poems in 30 Days challenge. And for today, I'm going to read a piece from my book, Notes for a New Age. I think you can see it there. It's available on Amazon if you want to pick up a copy. It's only a few left, I think. Hint, hint. In any event, today I want to read a piece called Chameleon. That is a piece about my first teacher, Andrew Habakkuk, whom I lost track of. Not even sure if he's on the planet right now. I don't think so. But anyway, again, it's called Chameleon. When I was a boy, my first and favorite pet was a chameleon. He didn't eat much and was immune to learning fancy tricks. His principal virtue was that he could change color at will, blending into the background in a way that made him nearly invisible. There are people who fit that kind of description, people who don't wear their beliefs on their sleeves and who adapt easily. Just like the semi-tropical chameleon, they'll come dressed for the occasion. They won't wear jeans to a wedding or a tux to a sporting event. Your opinion about them is more than likely about yourself rather than an insight into their character. The one who schooled me on the grace of the chameleon's ways was named Andrew. Before I met him, I had a lot of opinions about a lot of things, but very little inner peace. Andrew taught me that it wasn't always necessary to have opinions, and that opinions were rarely objective, but usually predetermined by conditioning. In his way, Andrew was paraphrasing Lao Tzu. He who knows wrote the stage, does not know. He who speaks, wrote the sage, does not know. He who knows does not speak. In place of offering opinions, Andrew used to talk about recognizing value structures. According to his way of thinking, every situation had its own implicit value structure. If one could recognize the situation's value structure, one could conform to its outward structure and maintain inward freedom. In such a manner, one could live an objective life, an uncluttered life. One could attain a sense of balance in a world where attitudes, opinions, and fashions change unceasingly. Before I learned this chameleon's way, I had grown accustomed to seeking truth outside of myself, in political groups, spiritual movements, and all the other easy solutions. Because these solutions ultimately failed me, I took the retrograde step of cynicism, of judging believers and beliefs. I didn't realize until years later that I envied the believers' sureness, their easy sense of certainty. They had found something in their beliefs that I had yet to find within myself. Andrew had a rule he imposed upon himself that was expressed in a saying he would use to veer conversations away from areas he chose not to enter. There are two things I don't discuss, he would say: politics and religion. He never expressed it explicitly, but I suspect he found that those two areas were dominated by opinions. What was behind polite argument was usually an attempt to convert another person to his or her opinion. To Andrew, it was just a lot of senseless talk. He had another saying I hear echoing in my mind these days. I think the most compassionate thing I have to say, he said, is I have nothing to prove. For him, argument was like debater's sport. He enjoyed himself thoroughly while engaging in it, but never took it personally. If his adversary got uncomfortable, he'd likely interject some humor. We're playing at being serious, he seemed to be saying, but let's not lose sight that we're playing a game. For Andrew, the most limiting tendency in human life was what he called self-edifice, or erecting an illusion of oneself as something fixed and morally beyond reproach. People would find a lifestyle or belief system that worked for them, but they wouldn't stop there. They crystallized their belief system into a religion and make you wrong if you didn't choose to follow their way of life. They tended to associate only with those who shared their convictions and were fond of placing labels on those who did not. They spent a good portion of their energy building up an edifice around themselves. Through these and other mechanisms, Andrew taught me the chameleon's wisdom that for me was a new way of looking at the world. There was a time when I'd habitually refer to myself in terms of labels. Revolutionary was one back in the old days. Macrobiotic was another. "Who are you?" I once asked Andrew. He replied without hesitation. "Man," he said, in the broadest sense of the word. That's enough for him, and that's enough for me. See you tomorrow.